What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a great day on this. I'm going to call it Thankful Thursday. I know it's Throwback Thursday. Feeling a little nostalgic this morning. I just want to share a couple of quick things for you. If you are a replay viewer, listen to me carefully. Put replay in the chat, okay? If you are a replay viewer, do me a favor, put replay in the chat. What's going on, Pastor? Good to see you, brother. Angie, thanks for joining the room. Eric Jones Jr., thank you for joining the room. Guys, I'm going to share 3 tips. I am not going to be long because some of y'all at lunch, and here's what I know. Your man ain't got no money to pay your bills if they let you go. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop some tips on you. A lot of it was birthed out of my experience, some of it out of some of the people that I get to coach. For those of you all who are just joining me, my name's Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, and my wife and I created an online relationship academy. It's called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully, and it's there that we get the opportunity to add value to parents on a regular basis. If you want any information about that, just see the link that's in the bio, and we'd love to be able to give you some more information on how we can help you. But for today, I'm going to talk to my people, particularly who are blending their families. What's up, Colleen? Craig, thanks for joining the room. Natasha, thanks for coming in. Jairus, Cassandra, my sister from another mister. Good to see you guys. Good to see y'all. Do me a favor quickly. Tag a co-parent. If you know someone who is blending a family, I appreciate it. Really, really would appreciate it if you would just tag them. Go ahead and take some time to tag them really quickly. We're going to let a couple of more people get in the room, but we're going to get started. Today, I'm going to give you guys 3 roadblocks that every co-parent wants to avoid. Every single co-parent, you would want to avoid these particular roadblocks. Let me tell you what I mean when I say roadblocks, guys. A lot of times, and I don't know if you've been here, where you're going down a road, right? And you are on your way. You have no idea that the road is blocked. This is the normal way you go to work, or maybe this is the normal way you go to the grocery store, right? And when you see the roadblock in your face, most often, I don't know about you, but my tendency is to kind of figure out if it's real or not, like to kind of say, are you serious? Because am I by myself? Put a thumbs up if I'm not by myself. Were you saying, really? Is this serious? Because you're not thinking, okay, I need to navigate around it, at least not immediately. And I think, unfortunately, what happens to many of us guys is that it's in that place of being stuck as co-parents that we often make the wrong choice. I appreciate those thumbs up. Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. We often will make the wrong choice. Now, let me just say this as a disclaimer on the front end. I am very clear on the fact that everybody's situation isn't the same. I'm super clear on that. So the information that I'm going to share with you guys today are things that has worked. Glenn is the Waze app for blended families. I know that's right, bro. Let me tell you, I'm trying to tell. Look, I don't mean no harm. Sidebar real quick, Craig. But I'll be mad with the Waze people when they don't let me know what's going on. Like, that's not fair. If you're on Waze, participate, right? Every now and then, let the folks know that there's a roadblock or that there's a police officer. That's the only way it works. Okay, so I digress. So let me get back to my point, because I know I got a couple people jumping in. They on their lunch hour trying to cram some food in and work it out. But I'm going to give you guys 3 roadblocks that every single co-parent needs to, at all costs, avoid. And when you do this, here's what I'm going to promise you guys. Things will go so much smoother. Now, I said earlier, everybody's situation is different. I get it. That's why we created our Relationship Academy, because our job is to help add value and to help people navigate through their very specific scenarios. And if you want any information on that, just go to thecrcoach.com, www.thecrcoach.com. But for today, I'm going to help you guys with point number 1. Marcus, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, Sarah. Thanks for jumping in. If y'all are ready for number 1, put a 1 in the chat. If you're ready for number 1, I'm going to need to know I got some interaction. I got 3 things that's going to revolutionize the way you think, the way you process. And trust me when I tell you, after almost 20 years of marriage and blending a family, I can promise you this works. I can promise you that if you would bother to give it a shot and try it with every every effort, it will work for you. Jairus, I see that one. I appreciate that. Darnell, thanks for jumping in the room. I appreciate it, guys. So Jairus is the only one with a number one. He's the only one want to hear. No worries. Jairus, just for you, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So number one, here's what I want y'all to put in the chat. You want to avoid under communicating. Put that in the chat. Under communicating. Anybody who knows me and has followed me and has been a part of anything, whether it's Breakfast with the Brookses or any of the other things that Cherie and I do, read any of our books, here's one of the things you will hear us talk a lot about, and that is learning how to over communicate, right? But here is where under communicating doesn't serve you. Now, here's what I know to be true. Appreciate those ones, guys. Nobody wants to talk to the ex. That's just the truth. Very few people have relationships where they are excited about talking to their ex. If put just true that, Glenn, you right, fist bump, do something. Let me know, y'all. Am I right? Am I right, guys? Nobody is like waiting to say, let me have, I can't wait to have a conversation with my ex, or a conversation with the bonus parent, or a conversation with, my ex-girlfriend, or whatever the case may be. No one's really signing up for that, guys. But here's the problem. When you under communicate, you create more problems. I'm going to tell you right now, it is better to go through the window and practice not or avoid under communicating than to just leave stuff alone. See, most of us will just say, you know what, she's too much, or he's cantankerous, or he's mean, and sir. You don't work on the communication part. And so quite frankly, you do a lot of under communicating. When it comes to your children, you have to over communicate. So I want you, number one, put it in the chat. I appreciate that. Avoid under communicating at all costs. Number two, if you're ready for number two, put this in the chat. I said I'm not going to hold you long. I'm going to have you out of here by 12:30, I promise. Number two, if you're ready for number two, give me a number two. Do 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 do. I'm waiting for number two, guys. If anybody's wondering why is he singing the Jeopardy song, like I'm literally waiting for number two. And the reason why is because, guys, I want you engaged. I do not want to talk to people who are not engaged because I got other things to do. Make sense? Jairus, appreciate that. Craig, appreciate that. And I know my replay viewers, y'all will get with it. But here's what I want to promise you guys. Number one, you want to avoid under communicating. And number two, guys, you want to avoid at all costs using your child as the messenger. Using the child as the messenger. Just put in the chat, messenger, messenger. Put it in the chat, put it in the chat, messenger, not the kid. Or don't use the child as the messenger. Let me tell you how easy that is to do. When you are a person that does not communicate well with your bonus parent, well with your your co-parent, well with your ex-spouse, well with your ex-girlfriend, or whatever the case may be, you have a tendency to talk to them through the child. It's human nature. I get it. It's called the path of least resistance. It's called the path of least resistance. And most of us, by human nature, we're going to want to go the path of least resistance. Very few of us are going to sign up to take the hard way. We're just not doing that. And the reason why is because it's hard. But here's what I want to promise you. If you want things to get really smooth in your co-parenting situation, don't under communicate. And I want you to avoid using the child as the messenger. Let me give you one specific reason why. Because it's not fair. I'm going to say that again. One real reason, I don't have a lot of time to unpack this, it's just not fair. It's not fair to the child, it's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the co-parent. And the reason why is because at best, the child is going to remember just a portion of it. And here's the other part, and I'll give this to you just as a bonus. The kid don't want that responsibility. It's not their job. It's just not their job. Linwood, thanks for jumping in. Guys, again, we're talking to you guys about 3 roadblocks that you can use. And if you want to be really smart and you want a really smoother relationship with your co-parent, you will avoid these 3 roadblocks at all costs. Number 1, we said under communicating, right? Number 2, we said using the child as the messenger. And number three, I'm going to tell you, all of us, including me, don't let me give you the impression that I got this stuff all cranked up. Trust me, when we were co-parenting, and especially when Justin and Shantae were younger, we screwed things up regularly. That's why we decided to write a book called From Broken, right? Two people who were flawed, from broken to family, because we got married and made a family, to blended. That's a process in of itself. If you want to get that book, you can go to thecrcoach.com. But the reason we wrote that book was because of our journey. We were able to put those kinds of things into that book to help you to avoid what we ran smack dab in the middle of. And so the last thing I want to share with you, we all have been guilty of it. I have been guilty of it. And that is bad mouthing the co-parent. Bad mouthing the co-parent. I'm going to give you a little bit of a caveat. I'm talking about not necessarily out loud, but bad mouthing them in your mind. See, it's easy to catch when you bad mouth. So a lot of you can say, I don't bad mouth. I never do that. I make it a point to never bad. But my question is, do you have bad mouth thoughts? Do you have bad mouth thoughts? I'm telling you right now, you can't control necessarily what thoughts pop into your head, but you do get to control how long they stay there. I'm going to say it again. You don't always get to control the kind of thoughts that just randomly pop into your head, but you do get to control whether or not they stay there and what they do while they're there. Hardy, thanks for jumping in the room. Guys, listen to me really carefully. Do you badmouth your co-parent? Don't answer, because I don't want y'all to get in trouble. Have you ever badmouthed them in your mind? See, because here's what I'm going to promise you. If you are bad-mouthing either out loud or in your mind the co-parent, it's going to come out in your attitude. And that's the danger, because now the attitude doesn't necessarily speak English. The attitude speaks attitude. And so have you ever seen a person that has an attitude, and the first question is you ask them is, what's wrong with you? Anybody ever ask that question? Raise your hand. Why all the attitude? What's wrong with you? What's the problem, right? The reason you're asking that is because attitudes don't talk. They just insinuate. And the problem is that you're insinuating a thought around your child, and your child is picking this up, and that's dangerous. The reason why is because you're shaping how they A, think of themselves, B, think of their parents, and C, what they carry out. And so as a result of you bad-mouthing the co-parent either out loud or in your mind, it changes the dynamic of the room. And here's what I also know, and y'all know this to be true. We're dealing with smart people right here. Y'all know it would be true. What you think you do, you what? Somebody put it in the chat. What you think, you what? Fill in the blank. What you think, what I think, I fill in the blank. Somebody tell me. What I think, I fill in the blank. Because here's the problem. If a man thinks it, he will what? And that's the challenge, guys. I want y'all to think about that. Write it in the chat, even on the replay. The problem with many of us, and the reason why we're going down these roads that are leading to destruction, is because we're not paying attention to the roadblock. The roadblock says don't go down here. I'm going to tell you right now, the roadblocks are designed for you to avoid. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. What you think, you will eventually do. And if it becomes a thought, eventually it's going to become an action. And so even if you're just thinking the bad thoughts and you're having all these ill feelings toward it, I'm going to tell you, go get some help with that. Work that out. Get yourself a counselor. Get yourself a therapist. Get yourself a coach. It doesn't have to be us, but get some help, because you're going to need to be able to navigate through that so that you can do these three things. And that is, these are the roadblocks I want y'all to avoid. Number one, we said avoid under communicating. Number two, we said avoid using the child as the messenger. And number three, guys, we said avoid bad-mouthing, even in your mind, the co-parent. What I think I become. Absolutely, Pernell. That's a boss move right there, brother. What I think I become. And what you have to understand, guys, if you dwell on it long enough, it comes out your mouth. And then here's the challenge. It then becomes your actions. It's what you actually carry out. And before you know it, it's who you are. And that's a challenge. So if you're going to navigate through this school year, 2018-19 school year is on top of us. Don't make your job any harder than it already is. These are 3 roadblocks that you can avoid. If you guys want more information about who we are, what we do, check out the link in the bio, thecrcoach.com, www.thecrcoach.com. You can find out all things marriages and parenting successfully, everything that we do there. You can get our books there, the whole bit. Do me a favor, guys. Have a fantastic day today. It's Thursday. It's Thankful Thursday. I want you to finish out this day recognizing that you have a whole lot to be thankful for. My name is Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. And I want you to have a fantastic Thursday. Y'all be good.